So I know you have strong feelings about the Supreme Court announcing today that they are going to take up the abortion medication case to decide whether to restrict Mifepristone nationwide. What are your thoughts?
Well, I mean, every American should be able to access medication in a manner that the FDA, the federal agency that Congress literally established to make these decisions, determines is safe and effective. Mifepristone is one of those medications. This far-right Supreme Court is already threw out 50 years of constitutional rights by overturning Roe. And now they're agreeing to hear this case. It's understandable, by the way, that many women across America are afraid that this might be the first step towards a frightening future where their healthcare decisions are not decided by themselves and their doctors, but also by the personal belief of Samuel Alito and any other ultra-conservative judge. So I'm deeply concerned about this. And frankly, judges are not medical experts. Why are they making these decisions on behalf of the welfare and health and well-being of women?
Earlier this week, you said that you will, quote, never stop working to enshrine the right to choose into law. What can Senate Democrats do, though, if the U.S. Supreme Court decides to restrict access to this drug?
Well, we can pass the Women's Right to Reproductive Health Care Act, and we can work to get that across the finish line. Frankly, we need to make sure that, we oppose the dream for deep-pocketed donors and corporate executives who have direct access to Supreme Court justices, as opposed to protecting the rights of women. Democrats will continue to stand up in every level for women's right to choose, the right to have their own reproductive choice, and to keep politicians out of their doctors' offices. And if we have to do this state by state, we're going to do that. But certainly at the federal level, I'm going to push for the Women's Right to Reproductive Health Care Act.
Just to remind our viewers about the case of Kate Cox in Texas. That's the woman who sued. She wanted to end her pregnancy after learning that her fetus had a deadly condition, trisomy 18. Doctors were warning her that if she carried this child to term, her fertility was at risk, her health was at risk. And Senator John Cornyn of Texas was asked to weigh in on the fact that the Texas Supreme Court was trying to force her to carry this child to term. Take a listen to what Senator Cornyn, your colleague, had to say.
That's strictly a matter of state law. I'm a federal official. I'm not a state official, so I'm not going to comment on what state officials are doing. I'm happy to comment on anything that I'm responsible for.
Senator Ted Cruz, the other senator from Texas, also declined to comment. Your thoughts?
Well, both of them have voted to try to, march towards this nationwide abortion ban. Frankly, what happened to Kate Cox is horrific. Texas Republicans doing this to her. No one should be forced to leave their state just to get the health care that they need. And again, Kate Cox is being forced to risk her health, is being forced to give birth to a fetus with a fatal condition and jeopardize her future ability to have another child if she wanted to, simply because she lives in Texas. No woman should have to go through that. Again, Republicans are continuing their march towards a statewide national abortion ban, and I'll never stop working to enshrine the rights of every American in every state to be able to have reproductive choice.
I've heard abortion rights activists say that the Texas case is actually an example of the so-called compromise that you hear Republicans talking about in existence, because she is 20 weeks pregnant. No one is arguing that her life is at stake. It's her health and her ability to her future for fertility. So if the so-called 15-week compromise that some Republican politicians talk about goes forward, Kate Cox would not be exempt from it. That would ban her from being able to get an abortion nationwide as well.
Yeah, well, the compromise. I don't accept the compromise. I want to support and reinstate Roe v. Wade. And with the conditions that are under the Roe v. Wade. But let me tell you this, in state after state that have enacted these statewide abortion bans, you have women who are having to sit in hospital parking lots bleeding out until their life is finally in danger before they can get an abortion. And this is happening. We've all heard these horrific stories. And Kate Cox's story is equally horrific. She's trying to preserve her right to have a future child, and they're preventing her from doing that. And now, while she has the resources to leave the state to access the reproductive health care that she needs, other women in Texas don't. And it's simply horrific that we're in an America today where women have to be forced to leave their state just to get the health care that they need.
Democratic Senator Tammy Duckworth of Illinois, thank you so much for your time today.